Hello 3L scholars. So today what we're looking at in this video is our noun endings review practice. The other day in the last video we looked at what the noun endings themselves are. Today we're looking at how to use them, how to decline different nouns with the proper endings. So the way this is going to look is first off, we're going to do, we'll say the first 5 together, and you'll see the process as we go through it. And then what I'll do is I'll sort of, pause and give you the answer key, as it were, the whole thing, all the answers. I'll scroll them up nice and slow, like the beginning of Star Wars, so you can sort of, see the answers. You can pause the screen if you need to and see what those answers are. And after we do that, we'll flip on to the back, which is part 2, where all you need to do is take a noun, and I'm going to show you the process of identifying what declension the noun is just by looking at the endings, okay? So let's go ahead and get started on the first one. So using your grammar notes, we're going to decline each noun in the requested case and number. And I did give you a little help here. I put the declension in parentheses over on the right. So let's get started with number 1. So we have the noun patria, patriae. All right, for every single noun in the Latin language, when you are declining, which just means chop off the endings, put the new ones on, when you're declining the noun, you always go to the genitive singular. Every time you get the vocab entry for a noun, you get the nominative singular and the genitive singular. The nominative singular and the genitive singular. Nominative singular, genitive singular, and so on. So in other words, it's basically the chart that we looked at last time, but it's just the first 2 boxes in the chart. Okay? So we have patria, patriae. We're always going to look at the genitive singular. That's the second one. We take it and we chop off the ending that's there. Okay? We write the bit that's left, which we call the base or the stem, all right? And then either from our brains or from the sheet, doesn't really matter which one, you're going to pull the genitive plural ending for the first declension. You look at that first declension chart, and you notice that the genitive plural for first declension noun is arum. So patri arum. And we're done. All right, let's look at number 2. We have the noun amicus, amici, which is a masculine noun of the second declension. All right, and we're going to decline it in the accusative singular. All right, so what that means is we go to the nominative genitive singular, we chop off that ending, we have amic, and then we look at our masculine second declension chart, and we go down to the accusative singular. So that would be amic And if you were wondering, what chart I was looking at, hopefully you watched the video before this one, but it's this chart from the last video, right? The noun endings, first declension, second, down to third. Okay, we'll do a few more, and then we'll again pause for the answer key, and then we'll go on to the back. So looking at number 3, we have the noun donum, doni, which is a neuter noun of the second declension. Mostly the same endings as this last one, but there's a few that are different because it's neuter. So this is actually going to be one of them. Either way, it doesn't matter. For every noun in the Latin language, when you decline it, you go to the genitive singular, chop off the genitive singular ending, you write out your base, and then you add the requested ending, which is accusative plural. For a neuter noun in the second declension, that will be dona. Okay? Now, at number 4, you'll notice I kind of changed things up a bit, and all this time I've been saying every time you decline a noun in the Latin language, you go to the genitive singular and chop off the ending, which is true unless you are just looking for the nominative singular, like we are here. Because after all, the 2 parts that you get for free are the nominative singular and the genitive singular. Well, if you're only looking for the nominative singular, you don't have to do anything because it's right here. Okay, so we don't chop anything off. We're just going to use the nominative singular. All right, and let's go ahead and just do one more. We'll do number 5. Let's see, we have virtus, virtutis, which is a feminine noun of the third declension, and we're going to we're going to decline it in the dative plural. So we follow our steps. We go to the genitive singular, we chop off that ending, we're left with virtut, and we add the dative plural ending, which for the third declension is going to be ibus. So virtutibus. All right, I'll go ahead and show the answers. Again, I'm just going to scroll them up slowly. Feel free to pause the screen at any point. I'll try to go nice and slow so you don't get that, blurry effect when you pause it. Okay. But these are the correct answers. And as always, if you have any questions about this, please, please, please don't hesitate to give me an email or stop by my Zoom office hours. Happy to go over any of these with you. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the back. Again, what we're doing in part 2 is we're just identifying what declension each of these nouns is. So let's start off with number 1. Well, we do a really similar thing as we did on the first page, where we're always going to look at the genitive singular, right? When you get the vocab entry for a noun, you're always going to get nominative singular, genitive singular. So, I think the easiest way to go through in this exercise is go to the genitive singular, circle the ending, and then look back at your chart. And this works every time. If you look for the genitive, or you look in the box that says genitive singular, there's only one declension that is going to have I, A-E, as the genitive singular. There's one declension that will have is as its genitive singular, and so forth. So let's look on our chart for a genitive singular in I, and look, it's the first one. Genitive singular. First declension, so we're just going to write a 1 next to it. All right. Looking at number 2, we have hostis, hostis. Your genitive singular is is. Okay, so looking at your chart, well, where is the only declension that you find is in the genitive singular? Third declension. Right there. So is. That tells us we can write a 3. Okay? Pectus, pectoris, same thing. We don't even look at the nominative. We're going to look at the genitive singular. Ends in is. It'll be the same thing as here. So we can write a 3. You might be asking yourself, especially if you're a newer scholar, why don't we look at the nominative? After all, I see this us ending all over the place. Doesn't that tell us anything? Well, the answer is yes and no. Really, what you want to be thinking here is to identify what declension a noun is. The genitive singular will always tell you. The nominative singular might tell you, or it might confuse you. This is one of the times it might confuse you. So you're always looking at the genitive singular to tell what declension a noun is. Okay? I will go ahead and scroll the answer key for you, just like we did before. Again, I'll try to go nice and slow so you can pause the video and check your work. So here we are. And once again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me or stop by those Zoom office hours. I'm happy to go through any of this with you again. So, thanks for watching. I will hopefully see all of you soon.